Hey everyone, my name is Tawanda Leoga, your clinical social worker, and a happy 2026 to everybody. I hope this year started very well for you, and as much as 2025 must have been a good year for some of you, or a very downside, bad kind of year for some of you, but just look ahead, put God in front of everything, and I bet you 2026 is going to bring a whole different perspective to what life has to offer, and not only your career, academic, or personal life, but in all essence of what you're destined for in the future that you're gonna rejoice in. So, why am I doing this video now? Not only are there burning issues that I want to really talk about, but first things first, this video is going to be mainly centered on career guidance and what social work is all about. And the reason why I wanted to come in from this angle, because of two things. For starters, congratulations to those that got their results for the A level, and I'm sure O level as well. Your results have come out or they're coming soon. I am just so glad that you went through that phase, and now the bigger phase comes in. So with this in mind, I just saw a couple of things on social media that I said, oh my goodness, this is just not it. So I think it's important for me to actually voice out certain things that need to be voiced out, and coming from a holistic perspective, not just from a demeaning or narrow-minded perspective. I'm sure if you watch the rest of this video, you'll understand where I'm coming from. So before I go into it, just to let you know what this video is going to center on. So I'm going to talk a bit about what it's like being in a kid's place, especially navigating their future, not only in the Zimbabwean context that we're in, but even globally in the world that we're in, because there's been a lot of changes and a lot of things happening, so it's quite difficult to just expect things to go in a certain way. And then I'm going to also talk about my history in terms of my journey from O level up until now during my master's. And I'm gonna put a disclaimer because some of you are gonna be like, Tawanda, and I'll be like, it happened a long time ago, but it was necessary for me to be where I am today. And then I'm also going to talk about the social work profession. So I think this will be like a good way for you guys to then hear things from a different perspective, from a different voice. And I guess let's get right into it. So I can understand, especially for an O or A level student, where you've got your parents in one ear, you've got your career coach who's saying whatever, you've got your teachers, you've got your results, you've got pressure, peer pressure, your friends. Basically, you've got all these things happening around you. But the one question that remains is, where is your voice? What about you? You're drowning in all these ideas and ideologies and paths that might not even suit you, might not even be what you want. And this is where life becomes difficult, especially for the young adults and the teenagers right now, and even the adults, and because I can extend this further to those that have completed their diploma or university degree, and they're stuck in a position where they're thinking, why did I do this? Well, I'll tell you a couple of things. When it comes to life, it's difficult to get other people to understand what it is that you want, but I think the biggest hurdle is you being lost in what it is that you want to do with your life. So I will come from this angle of, there's a couple of things that actually determines what it is that you want to do with your life. For most, they have money on their mind. It's always about the money, you know? And the money we're looking at, is it going to afford the wishes and wants that I want in my future? Or is it going to sustain me, or maybe sustain me and my family or future family? You know, money is always the first thing that comes to a lot of people's minds, you know. Secondly, it's your passion. What burning desire do you have inside you that says, this is what I want, and regardless of what people may say, it's what you really want to aim for and strive for? But can you just work on passion on its own? I know, big question. Then comes your skills and your talents. But I want to separate this. So there's some that are naturally gifted and talented in a way that even from a young age you can tell that this person is going to fit a certain role within society. And to a lot of people that have harnessed their talent, it's actually a very good thing to follow through. But then talents can be tricky, especially when misconceptions about certain talents may lead to some parents thinking it's either a sinful path or a non-yielding path, or I won't go into traumatizing a lot of people, but I'm sure you understand exactly where I'm coming from. And then when I said I was going to separate the two, when it comes to your skills, now I want you to understand something. There's people that I know who never had the skills in the professions that they're in, but they developed them along the way. They studied them, they understood them, they found ways to actually nurture and grow within those skills. And now they're a master in whatever fields that they're in. So, for instance, let's say you want to do something that has to do with, I don't want to speak on a profession that I'm not familiar with in case I could be wrong. So, not that it's really related or could be related. Let's say you want to be a lawyer, right? But you do not know how to speak. You don't know how to be eloquent and confident in having to present yourself. In this case, present a case or present an argument. So you find that some people actually got to what do you call this? They enroll themselves into schools where they help you practice your speech, build up on your speech, practicing in the mirror, watching YouTube videos, and even having to test themselves and put themselves into public spaces. Public speaking, that's what I'm talking about. So they'll put themselves into public spaces where they will test the limits of what they know, what they've learned, and how far they can go. And those people, because they've dedicated their time into it, it didn't derail them or stop them from achieving the career that they wanted to get to. So that's just something I wanted to put into light, that some people have the skills, but it does not necessarily mean that if you do not have them, you can't pursue the career you want to pursue. So we spoke about the money aspect, we spoke about the talent, we spoke about your passion, we spoke about your skills, and then we need to look at the fifth one, which is the reality, you know. And reality can be very daunting because you are either in a position where you can't get to a place you want to get to. Maybe you're coming from a financial background that doesn't have enough to provide for that. But I've seen a lot of young men and women get lost in the aspect of, because I can't have this achieved because of the background I'm coming from, that means life has come to a standstill. I will tell you one fact. If you think in that regard, indeed, life will come at a standstill. But there's more to talk about in terms of how we can get through all of this. And I hope my story and my journey will also help you see things from a different perspective. Not saying that I'm going to touch on all 5 aspects that I talked about, but it'll be interesting for you to know that the person that I was in Form 3 is not the person that I am today. Did the person in Form 3 envision me to be where I am today? No, not at all. So, with this in mind, please do like, comment, and subscribe. And if you know somebody who's struggling with their career choices, please do share this video with them. If you got parents who are not as convinced, maybe show them this video. And this is not me trying to like convince parents to do things that's beyond their capacity, but it's also just opening your mind to understand that the sky is the limit and beyond. So don't think that every child is supposed to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a scientist, or a pilot. No, there's a reason for everything. Each child has a destiny that they're supposed to get to, and who knows, life has a weird way of making things happen. So let me go into my story and my journey. And my god, I feel kind of nervous because I haven't really shared this with a lot of people. I've shared this in certain spaces where it did the help that it needed at the time, but now putting it on my YouTube channel, I'm thinking, do I feel ready? But this is not just about me. This is just about all other people that could really benefit from the story. So let me start with, there's a reason why I'm starting with Form 3, because that was an interesting year for me. So growing up as a kid, I have an aunt who works in the travel industry, and I've always told myself that yeah, I could see myself working at an airline that's traveling to so many places, getting benefits and all that stuff. And oh, I had a big vision, and it wasn't in the career path per se, but it was more about where I can go in the world. Who wouldn't want to travel? You know? Come Form 3. Thank God I was always told that you need specific subjects to get into the travel and tourism industry. So I will give a whole 5-second pause to guess which subject told me that this was not my career path. And it's not math, but it's geography. I've never seen a subject like geography where I failed it with flying colors. That's a brilliant way to describe it. I was so bad at geography. Give me the map and you're telling me draw this, pinpoint that. I just said eeny, meeny, miny, mo, because I can figure this out. So then came a point in time where the clouds. I think geography just did a number on me, and because I told myself that I would like the subject because of what I wanted to get into, what did reality say? This ain't for you. So Form 3, I was quite devastated to realize that my future plans in traveling just came crumbling down at my feet. Wah, wah, wah. But anyways, the good thing is, by the way, I was at Prince Edward High School. PE, Tigers. Anyways, so with being at Prince Edward High School, the one thing that I loved about Prince Edward High School was it was a place that taught me that your life should not end just because you're not as academically gifted as the other kids, or you're not physically fit and athletic as the other kids, or you're not invested in certain clubbing, gaming, or sporting activities that could propel your future in terms of the career or whatever passion that people had. So it taught me that the world is not linear. There's so much more to it. And I've carried that aspect with me till today. And I think out of everything at Prince Edward High School, that was the one thing that I so love and appreciate about that school. Till today, it's something that I say if I wasn't at Prince Edward High School, I wouldn't have broadened my mind and scope about the world as the school actually taught me. So, come O level, mind you, this is a SIMSEC school center. We were doing 8 subjects, including my favorite, geography. Came the time where I said, no, I want to write Cambridge. I wish you could see the villain laugh I had in me, and I was like, yes, I can pick my subjects and nobody has to know. And I was like, good. Then I remember there came a time where we were told that if we're writing Cambridge, we have to write SIMSEC at the same time. And I said, my mental capacity is not in any position to sit for 2 sets of exams. Am I crazy? No. So, yeah. And by the way, being at Prince Edward High School at the time back then, you couldn't tell people that I'm choosing XYZ to write. Whatever subjects that you're being taught, you're writing all of them. So that was literally a nightmare. So getting to Cambridge, let me just go on with this. So getting to Cambridge, I then chose 6 subjects. So I picked physics, chemistry, math, English, history, and biology. And they were pretty good subjects. I think those were my strongest suit. But another surprise. You're still gonna ask me like, how did this kid? I know. I asked myself that too. So getting to writing my Cambridge exams, I was done. I was waiting for the results, and I got 5 C's and an F. When I opened my results, I covered the subjects because I just wanted to see the symbols. I saw 5 C's and an F, and I said, whew, I pray to God it's not math. I've never feared failing math as I did in that moment, and I said, I can repeat all other subjects easy. Maths, no way, Jose. And I think that was also motivated by the teacher I had back then. She made me not like math in every single way possible. I was so good at math before I got into her class, but yeah, that's a story for another day. Anyways, I then reveal the subjects. I was disappointed. I passed math. And you think I'd get excited, but guess why I was disappointed? I flunked in history. And I said to myself, but that was something I was so excited and happy about. You know, going about the past and everything. Then it clicked in that moment, and I was like, oh. My history teacher told me once that I love to rewrite history, and yet to history, sometimes you just gotta reproduce what's there, not to bring out your own perspectives. And I said, my goodness, when they were marking my paper, it must have been their little tea break just to have a laugh at how I painted history. So what happened then was I got quite disappointed, but at the same time I was happy that the sciences, English and math, those were C's, so I was like, time to move forward. Now looking back, I think I didn't want to go back to Prince Edward High School, but then it was only the place that I felt comfortable in going back to. But I wish I'd listened to my gut, to my spirit back then. I would have made other choices. But I think life has a way of shaping itself, that going back to A level at Prince Edward High School, subject selection, the same maths teacher. And thank God she wasn't teaching A level, but I'll surprise you with something. So I come in and I say, these are my results and I want to pick my subject. So they're like, what did you want? And I said, I'll pick math, bio, and chem, because those are my best suit, ones that I like. Plus, I think in terms of sciences, yes, that was good. So I wasn't in a position where I would pick something like English, math, and something else. It had to be either the sciences, arts. I don't know why, but anyways, I'll ask the questions later on. Then she looks at my results and she says, but C's are not strong enough to take for A level. Why don't you take history, divinity, and English literature? I looked at her and I said, you want to give me 3 A-level subjects where I have to reproduce what's actually factual, and one of them I got an F in, all because I shouldn't do sciences? I was like, wow. It became a back and forth situation, and other kids would just accept it, but I was a different kind of kid. I stood my ground, and boy oh boy, it almost became a problem. So in the end, I then picked math, bio, and chem for A level. My A level life, I think, is just a blur. I was just not in it. I just didn't like it. I was just not with it at all. And if my biology teacher is watching this, I want to just put it out here that I apologize for the hell that I put you through. I'm just gonna sidetrack for a bit. Back then, I never understood what was going on with me, and unfortunately, I was at a school where, in terms of social work or a psychologist being unavailable, nobody was able to see the cry that I was crying out for attention, and people just took it as rebellion. I remember one day I bunked my biology lesson. Did this woman give the rest of the class a test? By the way, my classmates hated me for that. And she got out of the classroom to look for me. I was in an obvious spot, the study center. She finds me and she drags me to the classroom. Then I didn't get to take the test, but we then got into the lesson. And then I was just so out of it. You know, I think now, being the clinical social worker that I was, if I saw myself back then, there was so much I could have done to me. But I guess life, I had to go through what I had to go through for me to be where I am today. So anyways, came upper sixth form, second term. I then said, no, enough is enough. I'm done of this place. I'm done of the people. I was literally done with everything. And I said I was gonna write Cambridge again. So I was like, hey, so this time round, instead of just sticking around and write Cambridge, let me just leave. So I went to Speciss College. Speciss College, that was the time of my life. And I'll tell you why. And Speciss College, I had 2 friends, Chelsea and Taku. What would we do? Hey guys, so do you have a lesson? No. I don't got a lesson? Okay. Your lesson? Oh, the teacher made an excuse? Let's get into town. We would just catch a random commuter omnibus or combi and go to wherever, because we know obviously if you get to the destination has a way to come back. We would just get into any combis. I think that was the best time for me because I ended up knowing most parts of town and other areas around Harare. Restaurants that we've been to, places that we went to see. Oh my god, it was a life. And we had a couple of people wanting to join in on the fun as well, but they couldn't handle us because for us it was sort of like a way to relieve the issues that we were dealing with. What issues was I dealing with? I have no idea. But it was a good space to let it all out. Watch a movie, go to a restaurant, visit some places, see people. It was just amazing. But then, as much as that was good to the south, but that was terrible to the academic side. Come June, we're writing our A levels, right? Mm-hmm. Ungraded, ungraded, ungraded. That was my A level result. Was I surprised? No. Was I shocked? No. Did I aspire to do it again? I said no. So most parents would have taken me as a rebel child who is up to no good, yet I would translate that as an innocent kid who just lost his way and had no idea what he was doing. He had no clue. So results came out. I was still hanging out at Spaces because my ID would expire at a later date. Fine. And still hanging out with the same people. Other people were applying for university, going to different places, and you'd hear these conversations. Was I inspired to look into university? No. Did I think I was going to go in? No. What was I going to do with my future? Nothing. So what happened next? I then my aunt heard about Ashe International. It was a college in Marlborough, and she heard it through radio. So she was like, "Yeah, I think this will be a good idea for him." And for me, was I really wanting to? No, but I asked myself one thing: do I sit at home and do nothing? So it's an opportunity. I might as well go for it. As we were like, I think four or five students. Hold on, me, her, him. Yeah, I think we were like five, but we had our little squad of four. Yeah, I've never mind about the numbers. Anyways, so got to Ashe. So this Australian matriculant that they were doing here, interesting enough, take it as like A level. A level, remember, I got ungraded in 3 subjects. Now I'm doing 5. Did the anxiety come back again? Yes, it did. So now I was doing psychology, IT, career development, business planning, and English. But there's something interesting about this space that I just wanted to let you guys know. The teachers were so embracing and patient, and I think they were the best mentors that I needed at the time. And I got so motivated into school like I've never been before. And I remember the director, they were twins, amazing guys. So one of the twins gave me an advice and said, look, your O levels are not really as strong, so you need to do another one. And I was like, cool. Was I going to burden people with hiring a tutor? I said, no, let me just sit down, pass exam papers, what did they call them? We call them course outlines, but back then, let's just call it a course outline. So we got all of that. And I said, let me study this. I remember I did that one O-level subject by myself. When I got my result, guess what? I got a B. A symbol higher than all my other symbols that I got at O-level. That lit a spark under my butt. And with Ashe International, um, when my results also came in, because they measured both assignments and the exam, next thing you know is I got B's. And I literally was so confused, and I'm like, hold on a minute, hold on. Something is off about this whole equation. And it put me in a place to realize that the environment is what did me solid. And not only the environment, but the people, the ones that were taking us through. Special shout out to, gosh, I wanted to give a shout out and I forgot her name. This is classic Tawanda. But she's the one that actually put me in a place to see things in a broader perspective. And I started appreciating not only life in school, but it put me in a place where finally I had an idea of what I wanted to do for my university. So that year came and went. The year after, I spent it at home, which was the most frustrating year of my life. But I'm still balancing on whether that was good for me or not. But I think for me, it was just not healthy in a way. But at the same time, it was also a good space just to process everything that I had from O level, A level to Spaces and all of this. I guess I just needed that time to process everything. And this is why I just hated that year, because it was heavy on the soul and the mind and my heart. So in comes university now. So I had a neighbor, a person in the neighborhood that I used to talk to. He was doing social work at Women's University at degree level. And when he would speak about it, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds quite interesting. But I didn't think much of it because in my mind, I wanted to do psychology. And I was like, this is my thing. I'm going to be a psychiatrist. And okay, it may sound embarrassing, but it's the truth. Psychiatry actually came from a Telemundo telenovela where I saw a character play a psychiatrist and I said, that is my job. And I just fell in love with it. Anyways, did I research about it? No. But when I found out that psychiatrists administer medication, I said, no, I'm not going to do this. Anything to do with medicine, nursing, or psychiatry and giving medication, I said no. I overthink, I think too much, I start creating scenarios, and in terms of medication, I was like, no, that's not for me. So I was now having a dilemma. The psychology I really wanted is now something that it's a near impossible dream. So I went back to this neighbor of mine who was doing social work and I said, okay, maybe I could get into this. So I started signing up my forms and everything. I evaluated my Australian matriculate results, went to use it, and they said, nope, only Cambridge and Zimsec. And I said, damn, okay. Then, life has a way of shaping things, right? I go to Women's University, and because I was so discouraged into starting a degree, I then said, let me start with a diploma. So I went in with my results and everything. They were like, yes, we'll take you. And last minute, I changed from psychology into social work, and I got in. When I tell you that I still question God on the choices and decisions I've made in life, or the scenarios and places that have altered my thoughts and decisions in what I had to do, it still remains a mystery to me. Because now starting my diploma in social work, I was so excited. I then was in a class with mature women. In fact, Women's University is more women-led than males. but the class I was in had the mature women. So it was also good on my part because I got to learn a lot from them, not about social work or anything, just about life. So everything about me was now opening up. COVID came, and I was supposed to have graduated in that same year, but the difficulty was doing my attachment because of the whole COVID situation. And guess what? An opportunity came. Got into my degree. As I got into my degree, as I was wrapping up the diploma, I then, one thing just led to another. And one thing that was a blessing for me is I finished my exams in 2023, November, and graduation was the following year in September 2024. And that year was good enough for me to now put myself into different places out there. Because despite doing social work, I was still clueless about how I can take my social work out there in the world. How does it relate to me? What does it mean to me? I was so clueless. I then joined a youth organization, which was amazing. It was really, really good. And then I started getting into first aid in mental health, a certificate. I then got into many other certificates, many other organizations, and I was still working with the special needs school where I did my attachment, which, oh my God, that experience did a huge favor to my life. So as I was now placing myself out there, I was now starting to shape like what sort of person I am. What do I want? What do I want to get into? Mental health became a thing, and I was so into mental health. And one thing about social work for me was it transformed me from within. All the things that I was talking about in terms of mental health and the conversations that I was having with people, I didn't realize I made an impact with over thousands of people till today. And when I look back, I realized that it wasn't because I learned it or read about it or did anything. It just came from my heart, my experience, and all the things that I learned from the women and friends and people that I've had in my life. So now I was starting to get the hang of everything. Then I had an online session with this lovely, lovely lady who took us through um, a session in healing the inner child. That's the birth of my trauma informed practice. Gosh, am I getting emotional? I think I am. It now allowed me to look within and say, if this is who I am and how I'm being transformed and how I'm becoming this person, imagine if other people get to experience what I'm experiencing. Wouldn't that be like really amazing? So I ended up really focusing on that. Started calling myself a mental health social worker. I started saying I'm a trauma informed mental health social worker, or I'm a mental health social worker and a counselor. I was just trying to find my place. So I've had so many titles before graduation that you'd be surprised. And then to show you that God has a way of, again, moving the nice chess pieces, I get a job offer on LinkedIn. Excuse me. This lady from the States was recruiting people, and she loved what I did in terms of mental health. And I think it was more of my presence that captivated her. And she says, I would have taken you right now, but you need to have a master's, become a licensed clinical social worker. Mind you, I am waiting to graduate. I haven't even processed what it is to be a social worker. Now you're telling me there's such a thing as a clinical social worker? I was like, oh my gosh, Then she said, you can become a therapist and all that stuff, but you gotta do your master's. So if you really pursue it and the job is there or the person leaves, it's guaranteed it's yours. And I said, dang, I didn't want to go back to school again. I went through my diploma, degree. There was a COVID period. Already, my mental capacity was like, no, I can't do this again. Assignments and all that. But then I listened to my gut. I started meditating on it. I had a conversation with God, and I realized that this is a sign. So what did I do? I enrolled at MSU, School of Social Work. But before the enrollment, at first they said I couldn't join in the 2024 August intake because I needed my physical certificate to verify my certificates and all that stuff. So come next year. And I said, is this a sign for me to not come? And I'm like, maybe not. But then I went to the orientation because I said, you know what? Let me just go and listen. It doesn't hurt. At least if I'm not getting in this time, but I can listen and hear about what it's all about. And did the director not say, I know you from LinkedIn? And I said, you know what? Why? And he's like, come back next year. Guaranteed you'll, start your master's journey. And I was like, so many things are saying go through this, and in my mind I'm like, I thought I was done, but let's get into it. So I graduated, yay, everything was fine, everything was good. I then ended up enrolling, and let's say the rest is history. So currently I'm doing my dissertation and my attachment phase. So by the end of this year, I'll be graduating as a master's in clinical social work student. And not only do I get to be a licensed clinical social worker, but it's something that I just cannot wait to see, how my year's gonna be like. So now, let me do a quick recap of last year, just to give you a few doses of what this career is about. So yeah, I started my master's. When I tell you I've seen the flames of Gehenna, it did show me the flames. Not in a bad way, but I remember I kept telling myself that if ever I did my master's later than last year in my future, I would have never done it. I would have just said deuces, But I'm glad that I still went through with it and I survived. 2025 as well put me in a situation where I nearly got detained by the cops. Why? I was volunteering and, feeding the children living in the streets. And I said, wow, so my profession, I get to do this and there's a potential. And I was like, okay. Then there's some people that I've met, that I've come across with, that I've lost ties with, that I've reconnected with. Basically, 2025 was actually more of an eye-opener to tell me exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I should continue doing what I'm actually doing. And let's just say, moving along. So, just to take you through my life, career, and personal life, my academic path as well, is I just wanted to motivate you guys to realize that had I fallen into the traps that everybody does, oh, you're gonna amount to nothing, you're gonna be useless, oh, you failed this, you're not gonna, I wouldn't be where I am today. And maybe I had to go through that for me to tell this story to any other person, just to motivate you and put you in a place to realize that, you know what, life doesn't come to an end. If you're meant to get to certain places in life, I would bet this on my last dollar, you will make it. The path might not be the same as everybody else's, but there's a reason why you're being put through all the things that you're being put through. So, for instance, you look at how we love to compare. Zimbabwean parents, please do me a favor. Do not ever compare your child to any other child. We're all different. We're all unique. And we all have different ways of doing things in life. Personally, I will tell you, there's people my age that I've learnt with who are very successful in career paths that were seen as sinful or the devil's path, and yet they've traveled places around the world that I, till today, have not been able to get to. So it's not a death sentence that your child has chosen a path that is not what you expected or wanted them to get to. And when you force a child into a certain career, they're going to be miserable. They might get a job, but they'll live their life constantly saying, I shouldn't have done this. I know someone right now who is the best doctor you can ever talk to. But guess what? He always says, I hate this career. He's damn good at it, but he hates it. And I said to myself, imagine living life in a career that you hate. It just becomes depressing, you know. So, yet again, I'm hoping this inspires you to realize that life is not the way it's supposed to be. And that leads to the burning question, or rather, burning stories that I really want to air out right now. As much as this video is for the kids and for the parents, other adults that are going through things, I'm actually gonna call out a couple of posts and messages that I saw this year, which put me in a place to say, if these are the people giving career guidance and career advice, I feel sorry for those that are going to listen to such people. Now, I'm not gonna call out names because I don't want smoke with nobody. I will obviously put out the messages just to show you, but I'm not gonna tell you who the person is. If you find the person, fine, you found them. But in this video, I'm just solely speaking on the message itself. So there was a forwarded message on WhatsApp that I got where it says 2025 results, kids are out, yay, blah, blah, blah. Let us help you as a career coach into a career that you want to get into, not social work in terms of going abroad. And I was like, wow, we were literally narrowed down as a profession to just going abroad. I said, okay. This other one said that don't force your child, or don't let your child do degrees like social work and others that are useless. And I said, hey, okay. Okay. The last one. This one's on Twitter. The last one was like, you're a weak man if you go into career fields that are predominated by women. And I said to myself, hold on. I hope. And guess what? He mentions them. Career in nursing, career in psychology, career in social work, or bracketed into social sciences. And I said to myself, my God, now men are being emasculated for being in a profession. I was like, okay. this is something that I feel has to be said. And I think maybe I'll give the benefit of the doubt that most people do not know. But at the same time, I think it's important to highlight that all careers and pathways or degrees that people may pursue, all of them are very relevant. It might not seem fit in the Zimbabwean context or in the global context, but depending on the person that you are and the path that your life has been set out to lead to, you'll realize that whatever it is that you want to do, you will become successful in your own right. It might not be success measured by someone giving out cars to a whole lot of people, or to some people having luxury cars in the state of the roads that we have right now. But I'm looking at success in terms of fulfillment, contentment, and being in a position where you sleep at night at peace and you wake up each morning with that passion and happiness to still do whatever it is that you're doing all over again. And this is what bothered me when I saw these things, and I said that, look, I can speak on my profession because that's what I'm in. But even with other professions, come on, guys. If those professions never existed, I'm sure those fields and areas within our lives, within this global world that we're in, would have ceased human progression in some way. So, at least I'm gonna have this video out just to mention that social work is not only just an art, science, or a profession. Yes, it can be backed up by so many things, especially scientific proof, evidence, that's the scientific part of it. But there's some people that are actually naturally born to be social workers. Some that have the heart, the compassion, the patience, the willingness. Some are just naturally made for professions that you can never separate the two, ever. It's also a regulated profession. We subscribe every year. Never mind those that are doing masters in clinical social work. We also gotta be regulated by another board as well. So with that in mind, the important thing that people need to know, social sciences are there for the sake of humanity. Understanding the social, psychological, the environment. We're not looking at it from just the immediate perspective, but from a systemic perspective. We're looking beyond your families, we're looking beyond the city, we're looking the country, we're looking globally. There is so much to human lives than what most people take for granted. And it's sad for me to say this, even though it could be pinpointed as me being biased, but most people lack the intelligence to actually see beyond what's right in front of you. So if you're a man or a boy wanting to do social work, psychology, or any social science, or even to do nursing is a way to propel to being a doctor or whatever, just know that you're much more of a man than many other men out there. You're emotionally intelligent. You read the room. You read in between the lines. You see beyond what's right in front of you. You read situations from a level of depth where, as a man, instead of just being provoked easily or being a reactor, you're a person that stands still in a position to know that the situation is nothing personal, but it's something that can be resolved from a healed perspective or from a simple place of just letting things be. And I'll tell you another secret to this. I've seen a lot of challenges where people can't accept the fact that, yes, some men can be a bit more effeminate than masculine. Some men can be more nurturing than women are. And it's not something that we can say you're born to strictly be that or strictly be this. It's something that's just a natural aspect of you. Can be biological, from just being born in your genes and how God made you to be. Or it could also be psychological in how you grew up, the environment you're in, the family, the immediate caregiver. There's so many variables to human life that I feel if I started right now, I could go on and on for a very long time. Even when it comes to therapy, premarital counseling, marriage counseling, family therapy, individual therapy, trauma perspective, mental health aspect, systemic, multi-generational. We can talk about so many things that explains why a person is who they are. Never mind kids that are neurodivergent, maybe kids living with disabilities, and maybe people that are part of the LGBTQI community, or people that are from different cultures, races. I'm looking at the aspect of a holistic aspect in being inclusive and diverse in the human world that we live in. And yes, we're not meant to be strong in terms of our religion because our religions actually differ. But in terms of the Christianity aspect of what I believe in and who I am, I would also say that yes, even in Christianity, there's a lot of social science within it because we're all humans under this earth. So when it comes to professions out there, if you're gonna say, or your argument is gonna be about it doesn't work in Zimbabwe, I'll tell you two things. Why are foreigners leaving their countries to do the work that we're supposed to do locally? What are we missing? What are we not enlightened about? What are we not aware of? When it comes to many Zimbabweans living outside of Zimbabwe, if most of them came back to Zimbabwe to do the same jobs they're doing out there, most of them would be unemployed. But it does not limit them to being in Zimbabwe to achieve their goals and future career aspects just because they can't leave Zimbabwe. So you find that the reason why I wanted to combine this video in terms of career guidance, my own journey, the social work profession, and now just putting all that into one basket. I just want to encourage every other child out there that whatever it is that you're dreaming, or the talents that you have, or the futures that you want to get to, or maybe it was your dad that inspired your career, or your mom, or your pastor, or anybody that inspired what you want to do, do not hesitate and be afraid. Maybe do a bit more research, find out what you need. Ask yourself, if this doesn't work out, what's the plan B? If I can't do it here, if I'm doing it out there, what is also needed? Can my family afford it? Is there ways for me to get there? Because some have scholarships. There's so many different aspects of in-depth research that will shape your future in the way that you want to. And for those that might not be in positions to understand that, put yourselves out there. Network with people. When you see expos about careers and universities, go there, listen. If you hear that a school is doing their orientation or their first, induction, just go there and just hear out. You never know who you will approach and speak to, who will shape your future and guide you, be your mentor, and take you to places that you've never seen in your life before. And I want to do just a few moments just to talk to the parents that may be watching this. Your child is unique, and special. Your child has every potential in them to become a great success. Don't measure their success versus what other people are doing. Because what other people did and what other people are doing might not be things that you'll be happy if your child were to ever do it. And your child might not have the capacity to do the same thing. The only thing a child ever wants is your support. Be there. Be present. Show interest. Be the one to even research. Be the one to say that I know so and so who can come in to talk to you about this. Be the number one cheerleader. Because the world is cruel out there, and if you as the parent become like the world out there, imagine where you're sending your child. You want your child to be a doctor, but because you became the person that the child would come to for support and they're struggling out there in the medicine career, imagine how lonely it may feel for a child to be in that position. Many teenagers, young adults, and adults have dropped from so many of their majors to pursue something different. Some have gone into drug and substance abuse. Some have gone into suicidal ideation and suicide as well, simply because they don't have that person who's just cheering them on, loving them unconditionally, and supporting them wholeheartedly. I hope whoever you listen to, be it a biased career coach, be it some person who's just blurting out their opinions, be it even myself who's coming in from this perspective, the only thing that I ask for is listen to your child, work together, and see things through together. And for those that have done their A-levels, those that have started university or done with university, I also want to let you know that it's not the end of the world. You may not know what it is that you want to do, but something will come along the way. Just don't shut yourself in. Don't remain cooped up in your bedroom depressed. Don't close the gate and your doors and not allow anybody in. Put yourself out there. Put yourself in different spaces. That's why we have social media. That's why we have LinkedIn. That's why we have WhatsApp. We've got all these things right in front of us. Hell, we've even got AI that can actually sit down and break things down for you, even when you don't understand. And why is that crucial? Because when you shut in, no light comes through, no opportunities come through, no hope comes through, and you'll be just slowly dying inside. But when you open yourself up to embrace the world and embrace what's out there, you will find the path that is destined for your future. And please, I beg of you, never compare yourself to anyone. I recently got invited into an alumni group of my primary school classmates. I remember sitting there asking myself, and I'm like, wow, everybody's achieved all of this. Some have got American citizenship, some are doctors, some have traveled, some are doing so much with their lives, some have families, kids. And it put me in a place where I didn't want to compare myself, but feel so proud of the fact that everybody is in their own unique space doing the best that they're doing. And it made me feel proud of myself being the individual that I am, who's been where I am, and I am where I am today. And it's been such an amazing journey. So I hope this is received in its warmth and open-minded perspective. And there's no, I can't say bad blood per se, but there's just no smoke. I think that's a good way I can use it. There's no smoke with those that have shared their opinions as well. But sometimes what we put out there can be damaging to those that are actually trying to barely breathe in the space that they're in. So what if you get into social work just to go abroad? What if being abroad opens up the doors, opens up to opportunities? What if there's so much more to life? I personally could have left for the UK to pursue my social work career, but the area in social work that is mainly predominantly being taken in is something that would have given me trauma for years and probably rejected the career all in all. So sometimes it's not always about going abroad. Sometimes it's not about, oh, it's about this, oh, these are useless, oh, this is like this. Sometimes it's about knowing who you are and where you want to go. So don't feel lost, don't feel sad, don't be depressed. Block out all the noise and don't listen to people that know nothing about who you are. And be proud in the career you're in. Be proud of the career you want to be in. And be proud of dreaming in wanting to be in that place. And with that in mind, do comment, like, and subscribe. Share this to a parent who may need to hear this. Share this to anybody who is struggling in their academic or career life right now. Share this with anybody who just needs that motivation and inspiration just to get to a place where you can say, I feel like I'm me. Imagine you're talking to a person who wanted to do travel and tourism but is now a clinical social worker. Imagine talking to a person who failed his O levels, all 3 subjects, but is sitting here pursuing his master's degree. Imagine you're talking to somebody who knew about the career choice just as he signed his application form to be where I am today. Imagine a person who started listening to nature and everything around, all these indirect communications that have shaped to where I am right now. So with that in mind, I thank you for watching. I thank you for sharing. And I just hope and pray that you take it easy and be gentle and kind with yourself. Life is already hard, so don't make it harder for yourself. Parents, I'm proud of you for doing the best in everything that you're doing. And I understand your pain and your motivations and where you come from in what you want for your children. But sometimes it's time to put that child ahead and say, how best can I support you? Rather than how best can I put a carrot and, And for the young adults, the teenagers, and those that are in certain spaces, please don't give yourself and the people around you a hard time, especially those that are really wanting to get what's best out of you. I know it can be frustrating, but the truth is, it's all out of love and care. So, with that in mind, sending my love, care, and positive energy to anyone watching this. A great, warm, big hug from me to you. And I hope this video would have made a difference and a change in your life. From my heart to yours, warmly, Tawanda Lyoga, clinical social worker, Phoenix Rising, and I am so proud of myself. And for those that might have something to say about what I did in the past, hey, it's in the past. I won't tell you how old I am. It happened a long time ago, but it had to happen for me to share from a place of experience rather than from a place of storytelling, you know. Mwah.